Howdy, stranger. First, I would like to just get to know you. I would like to just get to know you. Who are you? Who is it this time?
What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to go over, basically, this is the 4th week or 30 days in of consistently listing 10 items a day on eBay. And I just want to show the results. And again, prior to that, I did move. So I didn't have very much activity on eBay. I was not listing very much. But I wanted to show like the real life results because I feel a lot of other channels don't really share that information. They just tell you to do it. But then if you kind of dig a little deeper into their store, they don't even do it consistently, or they're not top rated, or they get negative feedback. I mean, I know stuff happens, but I just want to give everybody a realistic view of this so you can see in real life based on real life results. Now, this is going from August of 2024, and today is Labor Day. So today is September 2nd. So wanted to show you guys here on my this is my page. So this is my store on eBay. I always provide a link in the video. These are my sales in the last 31 days. If you don't know me, I'm a part-time reseller. I kind of do this as a hobby, but essentially it's to get extra money to pay for the other stuff we need in life. And I did have a lot of my own personal items that I put on there, but as of recently, I've been going out more actively to local garage sales and estate sales. They're not very far from my house at all. I'm in Elk Grove Village, Illinois, which is probably 10 minutes from the O'Hare Airport. And this is kind of like the middle of suburbia, close enough to the city, but definitely considered a suburb. And there's a lot of goods and a lot of stuff around here that I've personally found. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. There's a lot of older folks around here too that kind of inherit either kids stuff, parent stuff, you name it, and different races, varieties. I mean, it's the whole gamut of stuff. So anyways, just want to share my experience. And if you do consistently list 10 items a day, so far I'm almost up 200% in sales in the last 31 days. And I'm also promoting listings. So I'm doing a promotion where I'll actually, pay eBay an extra 10, 12, whatever they suggest %. Now I'm doing that mainly on the items I pick up at the garage sales, because when you pick something up at a garage sale for $1, $2, or a really nice item for 15, and then you're starting to ask like 10 times or 20 times what you paid, it does help to kind of get that item out there to more eyes. So being a top rated seller, being consistently listing at least 10 a day, and also paying eBay some extra money. I know it hurts, but it also hurts if your item never gets seen or if it sits there forever. And that happens with everybody, right? But I also notice too, is like some people like never believe in promotions. I also do run sales. So sometimes I'll do 10%, 15, 20, depends on how I'm feeling, but I won't run the sale for a full 30 days. I like to run my sales, typically ending them Sunday evening. So that way it gives people that actually do have time to shop on eBay over the weekend to make some last minute purchases, and it kind of creates like a sense of urgency. So anyways, there's this new ROAS, which is return on advertising. It says 9.23. I don't know if that's good. The ad sales. So these are this is how someone would find you, I believe, through like a Google search. So they click on the Google ad that leads to your eBay item, and they ultimately make the purchase. Clicks are up 14%. My listing impressions up 39%, and so on and so forth. So I know it's tough out there, guys. I know like a lot of people are saying, well, sales are down, but this is proof that sales are actually, you can dramatically increase your sales just with consistently listing 10 a day, and also obviously list, decent items. But I hear this all the time. Like there's so many channels out there. They're like,
I do not have any money.
and I get it. Or, they sell like a bunch of crap, or they don't do a good enough job listing, and then it ends up ultimately as a refund.
Can I get a refund?
So anyways, the goal with my channel is to at least increase my daily sales up to $300 a day. I feel that is really, really good. And I wanted to experiment, like, how much time do I have to put into it? And when I do have spare time, I'm doing it, but I'm also enjoy doing it. But man, I was like deleting some photos off my camera, and it was insane, completely insane how many photographs you actually take. And when I say my camera, it's my cell phone. So I don't have a separate independent camera. I just use my cell phone. Mine's an actual Android, and I actually have purchased the most extreme SanDisk one. You can get 512 gigabytes now for $50, and it's quick and fast and painless. So, but a lot of you like might use the Apple phone, regardless. But you don't have to purchase a separate camera. So, anyways, I want to go over all the recent activity so I can show you guys what's actually sold and what's actually active, and to kind of prove that I am consistently listing 10 items a day. And I'm also going to go over some of the things I picked up at local garage sales, which I thought would be a little interesting because that's how I learn when I'm watching other channels, to basically see like, hey, what have they found? What have they actually sold? And, is it like real life or not? So we're going to start here, and we're going to go over my most recent listings here. So newly listed. So this is my actual store. I've got 1,523 items, and I picked up hats. I picked like whatever I thought was kind of interesting, but also I could see someone like buying and kind of unique. So there was a lot of items I found that were like, these are like first time being listed on eBay. So here's a little cool hat that I thought was neat. It's basically a patch embroidered partner. It's just a cutting company, but it was kind of vintage. And this was picked up from an older Polish lady with her friends, real close to my house, like 5 minutes away. I think her husband had passed, so like this was all his like stuff. But she had like garage filled with all these like concrete cutters and stuff. So obviously he was a hardworking guy during his lifetime. So he had a lot of like cooler, like vintage stuff, I guess. So that was one of the hats I picked up. She had this sitting on a table. Everyone was ignoring it. I'm like, wow, that looks pretty cool. Eye appeal wise, it's a poker card set, and it actually is made by Lasercraft, very old, and it's genuine American walnut, which I've never really seen that. Like, again, guys, we're normally used to seeing stuff, made in China. So I thought this was a cool piece to pick up, and the fact that it was still labeled, and the detail and the wood, and was still in good shape. And it actually had a deck of these cards inside, which are also vintage. And I thought these are pretty cool. One of them was actually sealed, but as soon as I saw like the back, how they looked, they're definitely vintage, and they're kind of like gold lined. So again, I picked this walnut thing up here and the cards for like $3. So turn $3 into 30 after fees on eBay. Again, 10x in your money is important. Here's an old Chicago Bears hat. So a little bit of advice for you guys. The Chicago Bears typically suck, but they have a very, very strong following, especially around here. Like, it's so easy to pick up Chicago Bears stuff. And where I was even at TJ Maxx, and they were like blowing out, last year's Chicago Bears stuff. So I think the Chicago Bears are going to be good this year, which will kind of bring out some of the fans that, like, we're weird. Like, if you're a Bears fan, you kind of only buy stuff either when your Bears stuff has like worn out that you wear, because you will consistently wear it every time there's a game. Even if you're not going to the game, you're going to wear it. Or the team's good. So I think the Chicago Bears, are going to be really, really good this year. Finally, for a change. I mean, I was 10 years old when they won the Super Bowl. That's how long ago. So if you find Chicago Bears items out there, like hats, especially brand new ones, if you can get something like this for $3, pick it up, because this stuff is going to sell. I don't think it's selling as much now, but once the season starts, people will be like, oh yeah, Chicago Bears again. So this was like something I bought. I probably bought this on a discount rack, maybe at a TJ Maxx back in the day for like $5, and I never wore it. So you can sell new era hats. Those are the real ones, fitted hats. This one's weird. This is an item from the Rotary Sushi. So there's a place called Kura Sushi. They're also in Japan, and this is like one of the gifts. They're kind of gimmicky. They're weird, but I've sold like little keychains with like a little salmon roll for like $20 because they're collectible. The hat is not made very well. I have no idea who these characters are, and it was sitting in a bin. I just found it, took a picture, and noticed like other people had already sold them for over 20. So I'm gonna blow that out. Anything Chevy related. So, and then again, if you get a new hat that's actually quality, these are pretty cool. And again, this was all this was again that Gretchen I was mentioning, like that was her husband's stuff. And stuff like this too. Like I saw this, she had a hat band and she's like $3 each. But this was like, man, this looks so junky. But then when I looked inside, I'm like, oh man, it's actually made in the United States. I'm like, you don't see that anymore, especially for $3. So, and it doesn't look like her husband ever wore this, but it's an official licensed one. Again, not big money, but I just thought it was vintage and cool. This was a really cool piece. So this again was her husband's. This is a size large. I've never seen anything like this. That's, you can tell like when Nike makes a big giant logo and they start embroidering and stuff, and putting patches, and especially like Nike made in the USA. Like seriously, when's the last time you guys saw that? So I saw this tag is very looked very old to me. I believe this is from the early 90s. And again, they don't make Nike stuff in the United States anymore, and obviously. So this is a beautiful jacket. I picked this up for 15. I think it's well worth what I'm asking. So that should sell. And even if it doesn't sell right away, like what's the big deal? I got $15 invested in it. Same garage sale. I picked up this FUBU cross training systems jacket. It's really big. It's a 2XL, really nice color, embroidered, really high quality. Definitely cool jacket. Again, picked this up for 15 bucks. And size is important too when you're picking up like vintage jackets like this. So this is kind of like hip hoppy. It's crazy too. Like all it takes is like one of the rappers to like wear one of these, or hip hop artists to wear one of these in their videos. And then like this thing will go from like 130 bucks just because of the vintage to like 2,500 bucks because someone basically wants the same jacket. So it's pretty crazy how influential some of the newer hip hop artists or rap artists can do to like old vintage stuff like that. So be on the lookout for that. But that was cool. Picked it up for 15. She had a project calculator, which obviously was her husband's. This was $5. I thought this was worth actually more, so I probably wouldn't have paid $5 for it because to get 18 or whatever. But again, new sealed items, love buying them. I guess if you make a smaller margin on the newer sealed items, that's cool because you don't really have to do anything. It's sealed versus like if it was a used calculator, you got to put batteries in it, you got to test it. And I did sell one of these, but it was a different model for $14.95. So I figured like, oh, this sealed one's going to be worth like 30, 40, 50 bucks. And it's not. This is a little different model, but if you see those out there, those are cool. This was picked up at an estate sale for a couple bucks. I always remember isotoner. These are from Macy's. So obviously this is probably like late 90s or Y2K, around 2000 something. But these are brand new and they're cashmere inside. I thought these were way more expensive because of the cashmere lining, but they're really not. This is about what they sell for, but they were brand new. And I think I'm the only one on eBay right now with a size large that are brand new. And for men, typically don't buy small or medium because dudes' hands are usually a little bit bigger. That actually want these type of gloves. So I thought these were cool. And if they don't sell, I'll just keep them for myself. This was cool too. I picked this up at a estate sale. It's basically, you know, you walk in the garage and you see like all this stuff and it's kind of overwhelming. And this estate sale was pretty busy. It was run by some ladies and you could tell like the husband or the older dude had passed and it was just the lady that was like selling all her husband's stuff. She was keeping the house, but she just wanted to get rid of a lot of his stuff. So there's this garage filled with stuff. And I first saw this, I'm like, I saw this, right? I'm like, that looks kind of fake. Like it looks so like minty and fresh for something that I'm like this, but then I like noticed the car on there is like, it's got, you know, it's like a 1950s car. So pretty cool to get this home. There were actually two tire gauges inside. One was a more modern one, but this, you could tell like this guy bought it, or maybe his grandpa gave it to him, or, you know, it's from 1958. So maybe he bought it when he was a teenager. Maybe not a teenager, maybe in his 20s or 30s. And it was just like sitting in a drawer somewhere, did not have dust on it. So I like grabbed, I'm like, wow, printed in the USA, made in the USA. and it still had the manual inside. But again, it was like $1. So I'm like, well, I'll grab that. But then this kind of threw me off, this like barcode. So I think this might have been like a repurpose. So someone was selling old stock or whatever, or maybe this guy bought it as a collect. I have no idea, but this threw me off. So the actual box is definitely original from 1958. I don't think it's a repop. The product inside has like some patina to it. And again, all made in USA. You don't see that anymore. Regardless, I thought it was cool for a couple bucks, and I should be selling that. But that's like, that kind of crosses that border between collectible and actually useful. Some people are like, I don't care if it's collectible. Like the box probably is worth 20 bucks, but the actual items like still very usable. So some guys like older tools, which I can appreciate. I did pick up a Sony Walkman, and I sold the Walkman. I'm sorry, Discman. I keep saying Walkman. That tells you how old I am. But we'll go here to my orders. So the Discman here, where is it at? Where are you, Discman? It didn't sell for much. It was not a very valuable one. So it only sold for $14.41. And at first, I thought it was broken. There's a little tab on here. So when you're out there sourcing a Discman, if you don't bring batteries with you, and they just took regular double A's, there's like a little latch that says hold. I don't think I took a picture of it. But always check the battery compartment, make sure it's cool. And again, this was $2. So I'm like, wow, an owner's manual. There was an old Circuit City receipt for it. And I looked at it. It was like, this guy originally paid $99.99 for it in 1998, which is kind of funny because that's when I worked at Circuit City. I was 18. Once I turned 18, you could work at Circuit City. But anyways, so I thought the Discman would be pretty popular because I sold a red one for like 50 bucks, but this one's just like a whatever, like it's not a nostalgia vintage, like more collectible. It's just like a utility, like usable product. But I tested it. I played a CD in it. Sounded great. Had to find some old wired headphones. But what I found was interesting, and you guys should learn this too, is that this particular model is a car model. So it says car ready. So usually it says CK at the end of the model, which is DE307CK. So here's what I found was interesting. So it comes with a AC power cord. It comes with that little tape thing. So here's the power cord I'm selling separately, Sony branded. Here's the lighter adapter. Again, Sony branded, selling that separately. And here is the car connecting cassette pack. And this was in really, really good shape. So it is better when you find a Discman and it has all the accessories. Don't just sell it as one, because if I sold this all at once, so I might have got like 20 bucks instead of 14. But you're better like parting that stuff out, especially if all the parts are legit. So again, turning $2 into almost $40 by parting it out, and obviously testing it, making sure it all worked well. This I thought would be worth a lot more because it was sealed VHS tape, and I probably paid like $1 for it. I probably would not pick this up again, but I should know better. I remember buying these back in the day. These were not the very expensive tapes. Now, if you find SVHS, so super VHS, or a more premium grade blank media, those can go for some big bucks. But this is like, you don't care. You're just recording a video from TV back in the day. So these are not big bucks. So I probably would pass on this again, but whatever. They're a buck a piece. So it is what it is. I thought this Batman VHS was an excellent minty fresh shape. I knew the comps on it. Like people sell like destroyed ones for like $1. Nobody cares. But this was like, like they just unwrapped it. It was in really, really nice shape, and Batman is cool. Don't know if this is going to sell. I think $10 is something decent. Ask for it now. It's on sale for $8.46, but just beautiful condition. Again, pick that up for $1. It's kind of weird to see VHS. This one would have been worth a lot more, but had I inspected and done a little bit better. So I looked at this like, wow, it's lamb's wool made in Uruguay. Like seriously, guys, like when's the last time you saw something made in Uruguay? But when I was taking photos, I noticed a few holes. I'm like, oh, maybe that's from like an old price tag. But no, there's some holes in the scarf. So basically got to blow that out. But again, that was $1. But I was like, dude, real lamb's wool, pretty sweet. And that was in the same bin that was with the isotoners. Here's another tool item I found for $1. Again, anything sealed, if it's $1, Like that was pretty cool. When you're looking at tools, and this goes for you ladies too. I don't know if any ladies watch my thing, but like you guys always like blow off the tools, and like tools are pretty resellable. So I found this was interesting. I was surprised too, like no one picked this up. There's a bunch of older guys that like specialize in tools, and like they didn't pick this up. And they're only $1. So I was like, maybe they can't see. So sometimes if you can see really well, or if you brought your actual glasses, you can probably find a better deal than someone else. But it's Barcolo Buffalo USA. So this is a made in USA, and it's got the Ford label on it, or Ford imprinting on it. I thought it was a cool tool. Adjustable wrench with Ford and made in USA. $1. Again, turn $1 into $11. Super easy to list. This I found really interesting. So again, there's a lot of Chicago memorabilia around here, and obviously Mike Ditka is famous. SNL made him famous. You know, Ditka, Bears, all that good stuff. So this is not an authenticated photo. And if I were to get this authenticated, like big deal, like maybe it's worth 100 instead of 40, 45 or $50. But as I was cleaning this up, because it had dust on it and stuff, I noticed like it's definitely an 8x10, right? And it's probably not done back in the 80s, although it could have been. But this looks like someone did this probably in the late 80s, probably shortly after they won the Super Bowl. And I noticed the frame was really nice too. So the actual frame is made in the USA, which is rare too. Sometimes these come in really crappy frames. So I basically put on here like, hey, if you don't want the frame, I'll knock $10 off, and you just get the photo Mike Ditka, which make my life a lot easier to ship. But do pay attention to the frame too. So sometimes if the frame is super cheap and chintzy, chances are the item inside is fake. But if the item inside is real, you're going to have someone paid good money for the frame to put it in, even if like these older ones was like shoe real wood, made in the USA. So the frame itself is probably worth $10. But anyways, found some old PPE stuff. So again, this was sitting there too. It was $1. So I'm like, all right, well, maybe I could use that for one of my projects around the house. Again, this was the wooden spoon rack. So I talked about finding those silver spoons. I decided to list the wooden spoon holder. I just didn't feel right throwing this in the garbage. So I'm listing it really cheap. Maybe someone can enjoy this and use this for their spoon collection. But I just felt bad. I didn't want to throw something this old away that's made out of real wood just in the garbage and up in the landfill. So sometimes I'll do that. I'll just like list stuff a little bit cheaper. This was interesting. This was $1 at a garage sale. Opened it up, and I was like, wow, it's a beautiful frame, and can't remember the last time frames were actually made in the United States. Usually they're cheap and chintzy and made in China. So anytime you find, I guess this brand Burns of Boston, and you see this like made in USA and it's not used and it's in a box. Again, if you find this stuff for $1, 5x7, like the way I look at it's like, this is nice enough where I would actually, if I had a 5x7 photo, if I needed a frame, like I would actually pay good money for this. So I thought it was cool. Like it was vintage, made in the USA, real wood, lots of detail, high quality, not the garbage you buy today, even at the nicer stores, and it still had the box. So I thought that was pretty cool. So Christmas is coming around the corner, guys. So at the same garage sale where I bought this frame, the guy had his old like animatronic Christmas decorations out. So I asked him like, why are you selling? He's like, yeah, our kids are gone. We go to Florida for the winter. So he's like, I don't even put a display out anymore for Christmas because we're not here. So he had a lot of actually like newer stuff. This was all sealed, or maybe I think this one was used, but I just pulled a comp on it because he only had like a dollar sticker on it, and I was like, dude, that thing's actually pretty cool. And I was surprised to see that these actually sell all day long for $25. So these vintage lights here, and obviously when you're buying it, make sure it's complete. This one was brand new, so this one's a little bit more, but it actually had the fuses and the light bulbs inside and some spare like little plastic things on there. But that was pretty cool. Picked that up for $1. Again, same garage sale. Actually, different. Yeah, this is the same garage sale. He had his racquetball racket. Again, I just thought this was old and cool, and worth $1 to turn into 11. I think I played racquetball like once in my life. At the same sale that he that had the Christmas stuff, I noticed this flying bat is actually sealed, and I'm like, man, the sealed ones are pretty cool. So this is where it gets weird. So you can buy a flying bat today. You can go, like, everyone's got Halloween stores that are open. You can buy a flying bat today for, you know, like 15 bucks, or it's probably like 20 or whatever. But this gets more into like the collectible, because this is a vintage one. So chances are this will also be eye appealing to someone that collects like Halloween type stuff or gore or toys. This is starting to get into that category of like, wow, someone remembers this bat as a kid, so they're going to keep this sealed. They're not going to use it, or someone's going to buy it and just open it because they had the same one and it's broke. So, anyways, these get a little bit more expensive as they get older, especially if they're sealed. So, I thought that was cool for $1. This also was picked up at the estate sale. Now, this was weird. This was in the basement, so, you know, a finished basement with a closet. And I was like, why didn't anyone grab this jacket? Because there was no price on it, though, so maybe that was why. But I thought it was a great looking jacket. So MGM Grand, just beautiful design, nice satin with embroidery, and, you know, made in the USA. So again, that was important to me. I've never seen acetate, so maybe that's what real satin is made from. But really nice embroidery. You can tell it was worn, or maybe it's just from being so old. But anyways, very, very cool jacket. They wanted 20, and I'm like, no, that's too much. And then she's like, all right, 10, because I had a bunch of like other stuff. But I went into this estate sale literally 4 times because each room was packed full of stuff. So again, pick this up for 10. And again, it'll probably take a while to sell, but it's the right size. It's large. So again, don't be buying small and medium for dudes. If it's, you know, large is a good size to buy, and beautiful graphics on it. So even if it takes me a long time to sell it, I don't care. It's a really cool piece for 10 bucks. So at that same sale, they had some hats. So again, these hats were a couple bucks a piece. So I thought this was neat. I'd never seen this before. So this is Universal Studios, just a really nice high quality hat that probably costs like $20-$30 at the actual Universal Studios. I picked up this Blackhawks hat here just because it looked cool. I probably should throw this in the washing machine, but again, I just lowered the price again, got it for $1. Here's a Morgan silver dollar I picked up through an actual another eBay seller. Not making big money on this. I thought originally this would be like 150, but I did get a good price on it. So I probably should take this off a sale because that's too cheap for this coin, but whatever. Always good to find graded coins. White Sox hat. This one was kind of cool. This one's from '83, because I'm like, man, I haven't seen a White Sox hat that looks like that since I was a little kid. So this one was neat. Again, same estate sale with the Ditka stuff. I thought this was neat. So, and you know, it looks real. But then like this kind of part like throws me off. Like, how old is this? So is this like a repop? I don't know. It didn't look like OG '83, but it kind of did to me. But anyways, I think I got priced out right. The White Sox absolutely suck, but they're getting famous for maybe being the worst team in baseball history. So that's always cool too. That sometimes no news is bad news, but bad news is good news if you got nothing else going on for the team. Not sure if you guys have ever found this stuff before, but Mold-A-Rama. So a lot of the zoos and stuff throughout the United States, but it's kind of more of a popular thing up here. You know, in the Midwest, or not Midwest, the northern hemisphere of the United States, because it gets so cold here. So as a kid, you'd put like $1 of quarters in, and then this big old Mold-A-Rama machine, which was probably made in the 50s, basically like presses the wax together, and then you gotta like let it cool off. But it's cool as a kid. You're like, cool, I have this extra koala bear, dinosaur, whatever it is, and it's kind of like warm in your hands. There's just like some nostalgia that has to do with that. And a lot of these machines like do not exist anymore. Like, they're broken. So sometimes these older Mold-A-Ramas can be worth money. They're super delicate. Most kids would like chew them or beat them up, or, you know, chip them up when you got them home. I think I paid $2 for this, but I thought it was cool. It's from Milwaukee County Zoo. I never have like, there are no koalas here in the Brookfield Zoo, so I don't think a koala existed for the Brookfield Zoo here in Illinois. So I thought it was a cool piece, and someone eventually buy it that collects Mold-A-Rama. I did have a really good experience like 15 years ago. I had some Mold-A-Rama as a kid that we got from the Museum of Science and Industry, and I remember I had this like fairy tale house that was only a Mold-A-Rama just during the time that their fairy tale house was there. That Mold-A-Rama piece itself sold for close to $350 for, again, wax that was in the shape of a, like a castle. Crazy stuff. So some of this Moldorama can get a little ridiculous. So here's some more hats. Again, this was $1. This was $1. This casino hat. Chicago Rush football. I thought it was cool because it's from 2007. It was dated. I don't typically like to pick up DVDs or whatever, but for $1, I think they were worth it. So I don't see a lot of HD DVD. So if you guys ever see HD DVD, there was a, it was not like obviously Blu-ray smoked HD DVD. So it's kind of like the VHS to beta. Whereas if you can find that movie in beta or that artist in beta, it's worth a little bit more because they just didn't sell as much. So the same goes for HD DVD. So I'm not a Roy Orbison fan at all, but I'm like, I bet you this will sell for some decent money. So I did like take a picture of it, used Google Lens, and saw that was selling for like 14 bucks. What I liked about these discs as well is the older couple, you could tell like they opened it, they played it once, and they put it back. Like that's how high of a quality their media was. And that was the same for Monsters Inc. They obviously had a grandkid, they bought it, they played it once, and then they put it away. But these discs were absolutely flawless. And again, not big money, but I like picked up stuff. Like even the Star Wars, like again, even if it doesn't sell, maybe I'll play it when through like an Xbox or whatever. But I thought this was like worth more. But I really, really like the condition of this stuff. And anytime you can get high quality stuff for $1, like seriously, that's awesome. I found this was interesting too. This was at the same sale that I got the DVDs at. I've never seen this before in my life, but it's a hand painted art bulb. And there are Christmas ones that sell for big money. I got a really good price on it. I'm surprised it hasn't sold yet, but I guess when you plug it in, it like puts the shape of spiders on through an orange light. So again, it's more of like an effect light. And this also was at the same sale. I thought this was weird. I'm sorry, this was at the estate sale. I've never seen this stamp before, so it looked like it's like a military type stamp or an IRS that says U.S. Internal Revenue. So I don't know what this is, but I thought it was cool and it was sealed. And also at that other sale where I got the DVDs and stuff and the Christmas lights and the Halloween decorations and the bat, they had 50 cents marked on this. And I just grabbed it because I'm like, made in the USA, Pinochle. I thought it was cool. And I grabbed that for 50 cents. So someone who enjoys Pinochle and wants or just collects old vintage cards could appreciate that. And at a different sale, there were some playing cards here. Again, I noticed one of them was sealed. Actually, that was at the estate sale. That was kind of buried in the bag. And I grabbed that. Ooh, that reminds me too. I got to list my Ralph Lauren bag that I picked up pretty cheap there that I was kind of using as a shopping bag. So this was pretty cool. Again, this was like $1. So at that same estate sale, they had all, there was like this old built-in bar or, in a finished basement. And there was like this display case with all these shot glasses in it. And like no one was looking at it because it was kind of like there was a lot of stuff going on in that basement. But they had a sign in there like every shot glass is $1. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'll take a look at these. I've never bought shot glasses to resell. So far, I think I've sold 2 of them. But here's some of the items. So it looks like, they went to different parts of the country and they'd go to the souvenir shop. And I noticed the glass in the bottom said USA, which is cool. So this is not like some China remake stuff. And this brand is Silburn. So again, it's pretty easy to buy these. They're pretty easy to ship because they're small shot glasses. And these all had like metal medallions. There were some here from Hawaii. This one was pretty cool because it has like a gold rim around it. So it looked a little more vintage. So I'm kind of trying out some shot glasses, but I was able to buy a lot of them, fit them all in a little box. Here's our Chicago Stanley Cup for the Blackhawks, the 2 years they won. This was just cool looking here. Like this is all kind of like this pewter goldish looking toned emblem, just high quality stuff. And again, I picked all these up for $1. Property of Alcatraz, I thought that was worth more, but it's kind of not. I thought it was like original, but it's kind of like a repop. Indy 500. So again, 1999. This one was cool. It's like an old NASA one. So this kind of plays on to the people that like to collect space stuff. Again, they went to the Kennedy Center, bought this, and it's got a name brand on it, and it's pretty well made. So again, for $1, I thought this. I thought like I would knock a home run out of the park because I'm like, wow, this is so old and vintage. But this is kind of like a repop. from 2000. I couldn't even see this, like, the lighting in there was bad, but I probably would not have grabbed this again. But anyways, Betty Boop's cool, again, for $1. And I thought this was cool. So there was a Cheers, and it actually has like a year on it. But this is not, this is like a Y2K one. Anyways, that was $1. And then this was the home run of all the shot glasses. This is what started. So I'm like looking at all these shot glasses. This is the one that like I like drew my eye to. I'm like, wow, this looks so weird. Like this weirdly weird glass. It almost looked like metal. But this one's pretty collectible. So you had to be at Universal Studios to pick this up back in the day. This was when Back to the Future, they probably recast it over and over again and re-releasing it. So this is a really cool, very nice, high quality item, and I think that's like a $50 bill. And then this coffee mug was weird too. It had nothing to do with the shot glasses, but it was in the same room, and this was actually on the like one of the side tables. It had dust all over it, but I'm like, wow, it's cool. It's from the 90s. It has an official Cheers thing on it. So maybe it's like a Spencer's gift type of thing that you'd buy, but I know this stuff is like $15-$20. This stuff's pretty expensive. So again, for $1, I thought it was cool. And if it doesn't sell, I'll just drink, I'll use it as a coffee mug. Velveteen Rabbit. So don't sleep on Velveteen Rabbit. This was at the older ladies garage sale. They had a lot of old stuff, and this book was free. They basically created a free bin, and I'm like, wow, this is really cool. It's an old book. So this one actually has some value because it is a book club edition, but some of the OG, like original Velveteen Rabbits with the slipcover and everything, they can sell for hundreds of dollars if it's the original one. So this story is pretty famous. This book was free, a Ziggy coloring book, or not coloring book, but like a Ziggy comics. I just thought it was cool because it was from 1976 when I was born. But usually I don't pick up books, but when the price of the book is free, I'll just grab it. Worst case, I'll like donate it for them. This I walked by a few times, but then I noticed it, so I picked it up. It looked a little like older, but then when I looked at the bottom, it's an UNESCO music box, which I thought was cool because usually these are just plain boxes. So this had a ribbon on it. It had a little wooden bird on it. So I don't know if they did that, but obviously it's from 1981. So that card kind of dates it. And the music box works. And because I was buying so much from these older ladies, they didn't care. They're like, oh, you can have that. I'm like, oh, cool. I grabbed this for $1. This is like stuff that my mom would pick up, these cute little mouse things. And I was surprised when I got home, like, man, it's Stafford collection. It was in the box. It has a date on it, and it's a $20 bill. So people do stuff. This here was $1, I believe. Again, same garage sale. I thought these were cool. They're swank. I was hoping they were silver, like actually made out of actual real life silver. But again, anytime you can find stuff like this, I think it's cool for $1, and someone will eventually buy it. This was 50 cents or a quarter. And I just grabbed it because I'm like, wow, I've never been to Yellowstone myself. And anytime I see made in the USA and the price is $1 or less, I'm going to grab it. And it's old and vintage. I thought it was cool. They had a very, very nice picture frame here. Again, this was $1. And this looked really expensive when I looked at it because it's like that nice glass. So anytime you can find brand new stuff. This kind of freaked me out. So I've had this sitting around, but the jewel case was all damaged. So, but I'm like thinking about, I'm like, you know what? I bought this disc. So for those of you who like are in electronics or have been around a while, the very first consumer, not professional, but a very first consumer modeled recordable CD player came out. I think it was 1995, 96. And the actual brand was Pioneer. And it was expensive. I believe it was Pioneer Elite too. Maybe it was just regular Pioneer, but it was $1,000. The original recordable CD player, and you can only buy Pioneer branded recordable CDs because they like use gold or whatever proprietary method. So these were really, really, really expensive for a consumer grade recordable compact disc, and no, you could not re-record over it. So once it burned it in, it was done. But regardless, it was like a very, very heavy duty CD. So you could play it like a lot of times. So this was the very first media that came out. So I must have opened this one day. I was going to make a disc, but then I never did, and probably sat in my sales drawer at United Auto Centers when I sold this stuff. That's why the jewel case was all cracked. But anyways, like, I don't think someone's going to buy this for to use it, because obviously who makes CDs nowadays? But the fact that it's from 1995 and no one else has ever, I don't think anyone's ever sold this on eBay, at least in the past year. It's a very cool piece of audio file history. So I thought that was neat. An old quarter book filled with some collectible quarters. Not really. It's just like every single state's filled in. It's $13 face. So not big money on that. Found a nice Morgan silver dollar. Listed that bad boy up. And then some shark pieces. I thought this was cool too. This is my old monster cable labeling system. You don't see this anymore either. Like, this was very limited. It's kind of weird. It's kind of like over obsessive, but back in the day when you'd spend like $50 to $100 for your audio cables, and you're behind your cabinet, you have no idea what cable is leading to what, and you're like connecting stuff. So this is a neat way of actually labeling them without having to buy a labeler. But this was a monster cable branded label, and I think I have 7 of those. And then more coins that I picked up from my silver unboxing from Bullion Exchange. I found some old Nintendo DSi stuff, some generic ones that I bought back in the day, and then this one's pretty rare. This actually came with the matte blue DSi. This is the original Nintendo pen, even though it's used, because no one else has this listed. It's almost impossible to find the original one unless you buy a sealed system. So the reason I'm asking so much for this is because chances are someone might have a really, really nice one that they still personally own and still use, or someone that collects Nintendo and they want to make it right and put the actual real life stylus in it. So someone that has like a super minty one, and for whatever reason the styluses always would break or get damaged or lost or bitten or whatever. So this was getting a lot of views. Again, surprised that hasn't sold. And then pick these up at my local. We have a local Japanese store here. I just saw Super Mario and the Princess on some weird Japanese stuff. So someone's going to want it. Someone that doesn't have access to it. And then some gradable coins and more shark items. An old Monopoly set that I picked up that I had since a kid, and True Colors here. And then some other hats from the other sales in my silver spoon. So that pretty much finishes the video as far as what I've listed. And again, if you guys do this, so another way to check to see, like, hey, is he actually selling stuff, is to go to actual sold items. And here are my actual sold items. So the stuff's selling, which is really, really nice. So CDs, spoons, you name it. So I think, like I said, if you guys can do this, a lot of stuff too at Big Up Garage Sale sells within, a few days or sometimes the same day, which kind of leads me to believe I listed it too low. But if you consistently list 10 a day, and even if you like don't want to go out and source, you just have like a lot of stuff, I think that's the most important part about having a good experience as a seller on eBay, is to consistently list at least 10 a day. And if there's a day like you can't list it all, well, then next day you better be listing 20 or 30, but at least consistently list 10 a day, and you will dramatically improve your sales like I have. So anyways, guys, I appreciate you guys watching the video. Hopefully this video helps you out when you're out there sourcing for stuff. I always like to watch them too, like to go through the different, usually it's like really higher end stuff, which there's other YouTubers out there that do that. But for me, it's like, this is real life. I'm going out there, I'm finding this stuff. I believe this is stuff you can find. They don't have to be big money items, because, great. If you want to build a big money item store, that's great. But maybe you only sell 1 or 2 things a month. Like for me, this is more realistic of the stuff you can find out there that someone else can use on eBay that they'll find value in, whether it's collectible or usable, all that good stuff. But I feel like this is more helpful to me when I see stuff like that, because then I'll forget like, oh yeah, this is worth that, or I can sell that for that. So anyways, guys, appreciate you guys watching my channel, and please like, share, subscribe. Let me know in the comments if there's anything out there that you guys have found, or hopefully this inspires you to get out there and just do it. A lot of you guys that watch my channel, I know you got a lot of stuff. I don't know what you're holding on for, maybe get rid of some of that stuff and put it towards something more useful. Or, you know, maybe you need to fix something around your house, and why put it on a credit card or use your savings? You probably have something in your house that's worth enough to sell to pay someone to make that repair in your house, things of that nature. So anyways, appreciate you guys watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.